Hello, I am Sulochana Amarasekara. Today I am going to teach you a data flow modeling. We all know structural system analysis and design methodology contain three major techniques. Those are data flow modeling, logical data modeling and entity behavior modeling. Today we are going to discuss the data flow modeling. Data flow modeling is a method of representing data flow within the given system. In other words, we need to show the process unit, data stores and external entity, and finally we need to show the data routing path within those entities. First, consider symbols which use in data flow modeling. There are two types of symbols, Gann and surround symbol and the dmacro and udern symbol. I am going to use Gann and surround symbol for my lesson. Now I am going to explain these symbols one by one. First, process. This is working unit which stand to transfer data from one format to other. Sometime it may business event or sometime it may business condition. We can represent processes by round-ended rectangles. That rectangle contain two parts. Top part contain processing order and the bottom part containing process name. Now we come to the data flow. Data flow is input and output direction. We can use arrow to indicate data flow. Top of the arrow we write the sharing item through that data flow. We can use dotted line arrow to indicate the control flow. Control flow means it contains condition. Data flow is activate when the given condition is true. Now we come to the data stores. Data stores mean data storing location. It may be file or database. We can use rectangle to represent the data store. That rectangle contain two parts. Front part contain store number. Back part contain store name. External agent or external entity, that's mean outside person, unit, system or any organization which made connection with our system. We can represent external agent using rectangle. Inside the rectangle we write agent name. Now we come to the data model. There are two data model under this technique, context diagram and data flow diagram. We can use context diagram for feasibility study and data flow diagram for requirement analysis and system design stage in software development life cycle. Now we are going to consider the context diagram. Context diagram is the highest level in data flow diagram. It contains only one process. It is system itself. Context diagram used to represent the connection between external entities and system. Now I am going to explain context diagram using this example. Lake Bike company need to create automated system for their company. This is their SRS. Using that SRS I am going to create a context diagram. I am going to do it step by step. First step, according to the first step, we need to identify external entity. We can go through this example and we can identify external entities. First external entity is suppliers. System buy parts from suppliers. Next external entity is customer. Customer can put order and they can get their bicycles by paying money to the system. I use this slide to summarize my finding. Step 2. According to step 2, we need to identify input and output between system and each external entity. You can see here system buy parts from the suppliers. That's mean suppliers input parts. As well as customer put order, that's mean customer input order. System deliver bike to the customer, that's mean system output bicycles. I use this slide to summarize my finding. You can see here the suppliers put parts, that's mean input. The customer put order as a input and get bicycle as a delivery. Above connection are clearly visible in SRS. Now we are going to identify invisible connection as a step 3. System buy parts from the suppliers, therefore system need to send money for that parts. That's mean system output money to the suppliers, customer put order, after that system need to give possible delivery date and the expected payment to the customer. That's mean system output possible delivery date and expected payment amount. According to that information, customer need to pay money to the system. That's mean customer input money. Summary: under supplier we have 2 connection. They put part as a input and get money as a output. Under customer we have 4 connection. They put order as a input, then according to that order they get a possible delivery date as a output, then they need to make payment as a input and according to that payment they get delivery. Step 4. Now we are going to find the sharing item within each connections. First, suppliers and system share parts as a input. Then system and supplier share money as a output. From customer and system share order with required model numbers and their amount. According to the order, system and customer share delivery information. According to the delivery information, customer and system share money. Finally, system and customer share product. This slide summarizes all the necessary information to draw the context diagram. First, suppliers, they put parts as an input and get money as an output. Second, customer, they put order with required model numbers and their amount as an input and they get delivery information as an output. According to that delivery information, they pay money as an input and they get their product as the output. Up to now we collect all the necessary information. In step 5 I am going to display all the information. First I am going to display processes. According to context diagram, I have only one process. It is system itself. Because of that I put leg bike system as a name and the 0 as the number. Then I am going to put external entities. First supplier, second customer. Next data path, supplier input parts, system output payment, that's mean money to the supplier. Next customer input order, within order they give required model numbers and necessary amount. Then system output delivery note, within that delivery note they give possible shipping date and required payment. After that, according to that delivery note, customer input payment. Then system output product, that's mean bicycle, that bicycle contain frame code. Context diagram is okay, it contain all data paths. Now we are going to consider the data flow diagram. We can use data flow diagram to explain system more detailedly. In other words, here we are going to separate system into process unit. We can divide data flow diagram into 2 categories, logical DFD and physical DFD. Under logical DFD, we are going to represent the current business process, and under physical DFD we are going to represent the system which we are going to implement. Now we are going to consider the different among two data models. Using logical DFD, we represent current business process. Meanwhile, using physical DFD, we are going to represent the system which we are going to implement. Because of that, process in logical DFD is business activity, but the process in physical DFD is program or procedures. Data stores of logical DFD are stores or some manual files like logbooks, but under physical DFD it is database or some automated file. Under logical DFD we represents business controls, but under physical DFD we are going to represent validation method which keeps system secure and complete. In the previous lesson we numbered context diagram with 0. Context diagram is the highest level of DFD diagrams. Other DFD diagram we call as a child of DFD 0 diagram. The first child is DFD 1 diagram. It contains process unit and we number that process unit by integer number like 1, 2, 3. Next child is DFD 2. We number process unit in DFD 2 diagram with its parent number and its functional order. We can draw more lower level DFD diagrams if necessary. This graph shows the DFD levels. First context diagram or DFD 0. Second DFD 1. We can use integer number like 1, 2, 3 to represent the process unit in DFD 1. Next DFD 2 diagram we can use parent number and processing order which followed by dot operation to represent the functional unit in DFD 2 diagram. Now I am going to explain fitting DFD diagram using example. I am using same leg bike SRS for that. I am going to explain this task step by step. First step is drawing context diagram. I use previous diagram here. Second step is identifying main working unit in our system. You can see here one major work is assembling part. Second, delivering. Third, estimating necessary information and payment. I use this slide to summarize my finding. According to my finding, I am going to identify three major working units. Those are assembling unit, accounting unit and delivery unit. Step 3, we need to identify processing order of each working unit. Normally we need to study ordering information. Because of that I put 1 for accounting unit. After that accounting unit give order to assemble the part. Because of that I put 2 for assembling unit. Delivery is done as the last process. Because of that I put 3 here. Step 4, under this step we need to identify tasks which is done by each process unit. First I am going to consider assembling unit. It takes parts, then it assembles those parts, then stamp frame code on their product and then they send complete note to the accounting unit. After that they send complete product to stores. Next, accounting unit. First it take parts from the suppliers. After that they send part to stores. Next they calculate the corresponding payment for each suppliers and do the payment, as well as they take order. According to that order information they estimate possible shipping date and required payment, and they send those information via delivery note, as well as they order to deliver the bicycle. Now I am going to consider delivery unit. It take delivery order from accounting unit, and according to the delivery order they select correct product. After that they deliver the product. This summary contain direct SRS task and assume task. As step 5, we are going to identify sharing item according to each task. First, accounting unit, accept part, share parts within supply and account unit, store parts, share parts within account unit and stores. Under calculating payment task, they share money within account unit and supplier, as well as they share payment information within account unit and database. Take order task, they share model numbers and amount within customer and account unit. Estimating shipping date and payment task, share ordering detail within account unit and database. Send delivery note, they share delivery date and corresponding payment within account unit and customer. Order to deliver task, they share approval within account unit and delivery unit. Assembling unit, take part, share part within stores and assembling unit. Assembling parts and stamp frame code doesn't have any sharing item. Sending completing note, share complete note within assembling unit and account unit. Send finished product task, share product within assembling unit and stores. Delivery unit, take order for delivery task, share approval note within account unit and delivery unit. Take correct product task, share product within stores and delivery unit. Delivery product, share product within delivery unit and custom. Step 6, here I am going to identify data storing location. For that I am going to use previous finding. First, storing location is stores. Second, database, it come under supplier. Because of that I am going to take it as a supplier database. Second, database come under customer. Because of that I am going to take it as a customer data. Assembling unit, under assembling unit we have stores under take part, as well as we have same store under send finishing product task. Second, delivery unit, under delivery unit we can see same stores. Now we collect all the necessary information to draw the DFD1. Now I am going to replace system by selected processes unit as a step 7. First accounting unit, then assembling unit, last delivery unit. Step 8, under this step we need to connect all the external entity to the suitable process unit. According to my example, suppliers handled by accounting unit. Because of that I connect supplier to the account unit. Customer put order, get delivery information and do the payment through the account unit. Because of that I connect those data path to the account unit, but they get delivery from the delivery unit, and because of that I connect that link to the delivery unit. Step 9, putting data store. First I put customer database, second supplier database and last store database. Step 10, under this step I am going to draw the other data path. According to the task information, account unit need to put parts to the store. This link shows that connection. Meantime, accountant unit need to update supplier database with this new information. This link show that connection. Customer put order. According to that order, accountant unit need to update customer database with this new information. This link shows that connection. According to the delivery note, customer do payment. After this payment, accounting unit need to give approval with corresponding frame code to deliver the product. This link shows that connection. Assemble unit take parts from the store to assemble the product. This link show that connection. Then they assemble the product and send complete note with corresponding frame code to accountant unit. This link shows that connection. Meantime, they need to send complete product which stamp the frame code to store. This link shows that connection. Finally, delivery unit need to select correct product with matching frame code to deliver the bike. This link shows that connection. Okay, we complete DFD1 for leg bike system. You can see final output. Now we are going to consider DFD2 diagram. It is child of DFD1 diagram. Using DFD2, we can divide process unit into functional unit. Using this method, we can analyze system more detailedly. We can number functional unit in DFD2 diagram with its parent number and functioning order which follow dot operation. To get clear picture, first we select process unit and we draw DFD2 diagram for that process unit separately. I am going to explain fitting DFD2 diagram step by step using previous example. Step 1 is selecting one process unit. Select accounting unit. According to the step 2, we need to separate selected process unit with it all the data connections. Under my example, it is accounting unit and I use blue color to represent the data link come from the other process unit. Step 3, according to the step 3, we need to separate this process unit into functional unit. I am going to do that using task identified in previous example. Accept parts, take orders are receiving issuing functions. Calculating payment, estimating shipping data, calculation function. And store part, sending delivery note and order to deliver bicycles are controlling functions. You can see here I identify 3 functional unit: receiving, issuing, control and calculating unit. Now it is time to identify functioning order. Normally we take input first. Because of that I put 1 for receiving issuing unit. After that we give orders. Because of that I put 2 for control unit. We are doing estimation according to the control unit order. Because of that I put 3 for calculating unit. Step 5, according to the step 5 we need to replace process unit with its functional unit. I am going to replace my first functional unit. It is receiving and issuing. Its number is 1.1. That's mean it contain its parent number and functioning order. Parent number is 1 and functioning order is 1. Next, control unit. Number is 1.2. Parent number is 1 and functioning order is 2. Calculation unit 1.3. Parent number is 1 and functioning order is 3. According to step 6, I am going to connect all the data link to suitable functional unit. You can see here receiving and issuing unit control all the external entity. Because of that I connect suppliers and customer to receiving issuing unit. Control unit update all the databases and give orders to other process unit. Because of that all the databases and data link coming from the other process unit are connected to the control unit. Now it is time to display the new data link which emerge within functional unit. Customer put order on a receiving and issuing unit. After that receiving and issuing unit need to give all the information to control unit. This link shows that connection. According to the order detail, control unit need to check the availability. For that control unit send checking note with model numbers to stores. This link shows that connection. After that stores send availability note with available model number. This link shows that connection. Meantime control unit give order to calculate the payment with necessary model numbers and their amount. This link shows that connection. According to that order, calculation unit calculate payment and send that amount detail like this. Control unit itself estimate possible shipping date and send possible shipping date and expected amount via payment detail to receiving unit like this. Then receiving issuing unit send delivery note to customer. According to that delivery note, customer do payment. After that payment, receiving issuing unit send all the detail with customer number to control unit. This link shows that connection. After that, control unit update customer database and send approval to release the product with matching frame code to delivery unit. Suppliers send their part to receiving issuing unit. After that, receiving issuing unit need to give all the information with supplier parts and their amount to control unit. This link shows that connection. Then control unit give order to calculate the payment. Here I am using previous payment calculation data path to show that connection. Then calculation unit calculate payment and send that detail to control unit. Here also I am using previous payment detail data link to show that connection. Then control unit send that payment detail to receiving issuing unit to do the payment. This link show that connection. Okay, we complete DFD2 diagram for accounting unit in leg bike system. Likewise, we can draw DFD2 diagram for other processing unit. Thank you. Refer your note for more information and try to complete activity 1 under SAD subject.